about what it's like growing up with the ability to play with any toy you want.
First of all, who said I ever grew up? I still think like a 7-year-old most of the time. But it's funny, growing up, we didn't have that much. Even though Hasbro was very small in those days, it was about, I think when I was born, it was only about a $10 million, $15 million company. Most of the toys, whether it was the Mary Milkman and that, well, weren't my favorite. But then Potato Head came along. And Potato Head was great for me because I took all the vegetables I didn't like, and in those days, you put the pieces in the vegetable or whatever. So if it was asparagus or if it was cauliflower, anything I didn't like, I tried to ruin. But no, it was wonderful because I get to go to Toy Fair with my dad, you know, and when you're 6 or 7 years old, and even today for me, there's a wonder about going to Toy Fair and seeing all of the wonderful creations, whether it's your own company's or someone else's. But I used to play with toy soldiers, and I used to roll a ball and knock them over. But no, it just, anyone who touches the toy industry doesn't like to leave the toy industry, because if you're able to be young all the time, and that's what the toy industry is, it makes you think like a child many times.
Which is, in fact, the reason why you're in New York. Isn't this...
it's Toy Fair time.
Toy Fair time. Yeah. Speaking of, what's on the horizon? What's new out there for kids?
Well, so many things. But, you know, Hasbro basically has been very, very fortunate. And it really started with my brother and then myself, where when we were fortunate to be somewhat successful and we bought another company, we always looked to find things that would stand the test of time. So when you look at the Hasbro portfolio, whether it be Monopoly, whether it be Clue, whether it be G.I. Joe, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be My Little Pony, Battleship, whatever, those properties have stood the test of time. But every year, our toys are real. It's like Toy Story. They come to life, and they always want new clothes. I mean, as I look at my own wife, and she likes to have the new color fashions every year, toys demand to have an update of what children want. Because the most important thing about a toy is it stimulates imagination and creativity. Too often, I think we as adults forget that we were once kids, and how many of us really remember what it was like chasing the wind with a kite? And so I say to people, always remember, stop having your child do this and this and this. Give them freedom, because a child's work is a child's play, because they're learning to socialize with other children. They're learning shapes, they're learning sounds, they're learning colors, they're learning. But the most important thing is imagination.